Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Daily Crypto Byte. Today is Thursday, September 23rd, and as Dr. Fed predicted earlier this week, we had a favorable outcome yesterday, and the markets are responding positively, so we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. But before we dive right into things, Doc Fed, CJ, how are you guys doing today?
Very good today, Matt. CJ, are you feeling pretty good?
Yeah, glad that we held the 42K level. That was very critical for the overall trend. And, as soon as that favorable Fed announcement and the Evergrande concerns kind of eased, seems like everybody's back to risk on and is really buying the dip here. So it's going to be interesting how price action ends up for the end of the week and then, what we see this weekend. But I'm encouraged after yesterday, that's for sure.
And we're already up in the Cardano trade. 211. I bought it yesterday. It's 223 today. On its way to $3 again, folks.
And we got a lot of assets. We got a lot of assets that are, kind of picking up where they left off just last week, and that's exciting. So I think we could have a strong close to the week here for a lot of our favorite dojos of the day and the whole market in general. So what do you say we dive right into some charts here, fellas?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll start us.
Good morning, everyone, says the Vasic. Or let's see. I love that now we're getting these things popping up on the bottom of the screen here. Hey, Cedric.
Yeah, StreamYard's great. I want to start today's show with an interesting example of accumulation and distribution throughout whale holders. So here we're looking at whale holders with over 1K BTC, also filtered for known entities. It's a very common pattern we see throughout bull markets. You see the increase in 2017, and simultaneously you see that distribution of larger holders. In other words, they're selling into strength as price increases in a bull market. Then, once we create that descending triangle and break down to 3K throughout the 2018 and 2019 bear market, we saw a distribution as well. But then right at the bottom, once we started seeing some strength here, we went back into accumulation with the larger holders. And you can see that reflected in the amount of known entities actually increasing. Then they distributed as well as we got a little ahead of ourselves during this altcoin exodus in the 2019 bull market. And then we came down with COVID and that low, but we experienced a lot of accumulation throughout this period where we had companies like MicroStrategy, Square, Galaxy really stepping up to the forefront in terms of corporate interest in Bitcoin. And then all throughout our recent top, when we were up above 50 and 65,000, that's when we saw another instance of distribution and a massive decrease in the amount of whale wallets. However, now, after this recent accumulation phase of around 29K, we've seen stability in those wallets. And now we're actually starting to see a sharp increase, even despite the recent run-up. So I think that's very promising. I think this just is a reflection that the smart money, the whale holders, are still actively participating in this market and are showing us their hand with a bullish viewpoint here. Also, despite the recent increases, we still have relatively stable inflows to exchanges. So we're not seeing whales rushing to dump coins on the open market or anything of that sort. We're still seeing pretty consistent inflows, which is not really that alarming. When we talk about technical analysis in Bitcoin, We do face some tough resistance here going up into the 45K and 46K level. Now that we have that smooth moving average flipping over, which previously acted as support. So we'll see if the bulls have enough momentum to get through that. I bought a couple assets yesterday. I'll talk about later in the show off of this bullish engulfing candle. We'll see what happens with those. But, when looking at the CCI, we have not been this oversold, or I should say we're rebounding from an oversold level now. But we have not reached that much of an oversold level since going back to, the COVID lows. So that's truly speaks, I think, to the capitulation that we saw in the market over the last few days. But with that being said, things are looking up, and our reaction rally is still continuing this morning. So interested to hear your guys' thoughts as well, but that's kind of what we're seeing in the general overview.
Yeah, CJ, you made some great points there with those on-chain metrics. I think that right now, at this point in time in our market cycle, most of the price action is still being dictated by those large holders, whales, institutions. We're not yet at that stage of retail participation yet, but I think one factor that could definitely be a catalyst to bring in that participation is Bitcoin making new all-time highs, which seems like an inevitability towards the end of the year. But I think one thing that's going to be critical in order for that to happen is the S&P to show continued strength. Obviously, we've had a weird couple of weeks here with various signs of weakness, but now we're continuing to climb up. So, John, I want to ask you, what is your outlook for the S&P here just to close the week? Are you expecting strength? What have you been hearing on the street?
Yeah, more or less. As I said, I thought we would see a relatively benign, if not wind at our backs, until the couple weeks of the November meeting, Monty.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as the Fed maintains this posture of waiting for more data, it'll depend, of course, on that data now. So does it mean we don't have any ups or downs because of data between now and then? No. It means that we will have big moves based on the PCE, the producer price. We'll also have moves based on employment data and how quickly we're picking up or not picking up, as well as GDP. So I think all of those are going to be the main catalysts between now and the next Fed meeting. And most of us will be trying to read the tea leaves and say, okay, so if that is indeed the case, what is the chance that we're going to see a taper announced at the November Fed meeting? And at least right now, based on what Chair Powell said yesterday, I would say we probably are almost the exact same odds as I said that we wouldn't move. I'd say there's probably that 75 to 80% chance that they will announce the taper in November. And again, taper is not the same as rate increases. Presently, they're buying $80 billion in treasuries and $40 billion in mortgage-backed securities every month. That's what they're going to be tapering. In other words, cutting back on those. Maybe they take that down by 10 or 20%. Again, that pushes us well towards the end of 2022 before we get to rate increases. So taper, yes, probably in November. Is it going to be a tantrum after all this time? We'll have to see. I don't really think so. We will probably have so much time to think about it, talk about it, that when they announce it, it won't be the same as that 2018 taper tantrum or any of the others.
I like that taper tantrum term. I'm going to steal that from you.
Yeah, taper tantrum.
Wow.
But I do have a very fun story for you guys. Did you know that there's a crypto hamster? And I know Monty is not fond of this one, but it turns out that and Monty outperforms this hamster. But the hamster beat Warren Buffett and Cathie Wood, as well as Bitcoin over the last few months. And the crypto trading hamster's name, Mr. Goxx. Not Monk Goxx, but Mr. Goxx. And apparently he live streams his trading sessions from a high-tech hutch in Germany, and he started on June 12th with about $390. And the hamster picks which assets he wants to buy, or she. It's not really clear. They call him Mr. Goxx, so I'm saying he. And of course, this is just a fun story. But let me just show you guys quickly. Let me share the screen with you. Let's see. So, bang. This is that basically the screen of Mr. Goxx and his performance over this time. And as you see, he's beating the NASDAQ, S&P, ARK, as well as even Bitcoin as Mr. Goxx trades. And by the way, for those of you who are convinced that you should follow a crypto trading hamster, his handle is indeed at MRGOXX, Mr. Goxx. And of course, that's mainly for fun, but apparently his office where he has his wheel and so forth, they keep track of, his mileage on the wheel and the sort of shape that Mr. Goxx is keeping himself in. He's got little computer screens in there that he can watch the market and so forth. And what has he been buying? Well, let's see, Chili's, CHZ, Pantos, PAN, and Doge. He bought it at the end of July. And right now, anyway, he's taking a hit on that Dogecoin. But on the others, he apparently has done fairly well. But he has diamond hands, they say, because he's not really shaken by any down moves in the market and so forth. And I, of course, just thought that this was an interesting, fun story to bring up because when I first started on television, guys, I used to, and I'll stop sharing now, but I used to have to compete against a monkey. Fox once a year would bring out a monkey to throw darts at a newspaper with all of the different stock symbols. And then I'd have to outperform the monkey. Now, I don't think I ever lost to the monkey on a monthly basis. But every once in a while, the monkey would throw a dart and hit a good stock. And it would be, I'd have to outperform the monkey that month. And it was always a challenge. That was a tough monkey. But of course, when you're talking about money, people tend to get a little more serious. So I will say that you're much better off listening to Matt and CJ about cryptos than Mr. Goxx. And remember, you can join for $1 for your first month and join the guys in the room to talk about cryptos throughout the day, 24 hours a day. And Bitcoin back above 44,000 today, guys. So it's got to feel at least a little better right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I was just checking this out over Reddit, Doc. I had no idea, but let's just get one more shot of this office because it is quite the design.
The office is interesting. There's no doubt. Yep, there it is. Mount Goxx or Mr. Goxx box, the trading office. So somebody in Germany has way too much time on their hands is what this basically means. And by the way, his last purchase of Doge, if we imputed where he would be today, he's lost almost half of his investment on that one. So all the more reason you don't want to follow Mr. Goxx too closely.
Well, yeah, he picked Chili's, and CJ and I are bullish on Chili's, so we got a little bit of something in common there. Maybe we can see if we can bring him on as a crypto analyst. I think Dirk would be for that. He's German, so we could see.
Sadly, I think you're right. And as far as other crypto news on the real news side, that news out of Robinhood about their wallets and so forth, and they're pushing much deeper into crypto. That's good. Coinbase, of course, is the big dog in the U.S. for that. But the fact that we have Robinhood being able to attack both equities and cryptos, that Coinbase can't make that claim. They're not in that game yet. And when we do what we're going to do with Voyager, remember, enter code Rebel25 when you open your account at Voyager, and you'll get $25 worth of Bitcoin. But we are launching stock options futures with Voyager, and then they will have the digital assets on their side. So we will be a direct competitor as of that moment with Robinhood. But Coinbase, they're kind of an afterthought right now. They're just crypto.
Yeah, and I think that, this move by Robinhood kind of speaks to what most crypto users want. Currently, Robinhood allows you to purchase crypto, but you can't self-custody it. So you can buy Bitcoin, ETH, or Litecoin, but you can just hold it on the app. You can only buy and sell it. You can't transfer it out. And that's becoming so important amongst retail traders, is the ability to control your own capital, move it to decentralized exchanges, move it to places like MetaMask to get into downstream assets. I think that, there's really not a whole lot of reason to buy crypto on Robinhood. It's just more or less a speculative, you're not actually truly owning the crypto. So now that they're bringing self-custody to it, I think a lot more people will actually look at them as legitimate crypto custodians. So interesting stuff, but I think it speaks mostly to what retail traders want, and that's the ability to self-custody their crypto. But we had some interesting price action today, now that we've had some of that negative news released from the market. What do you guys say we dive into our Dojos of the day today? Because I personally have a couple that I want to hit on, but I'm curious to see if you guys have any as well.
You know me, I'm packing several. So why don't you gentlemen lead us off?
All right,
Doc, you want to start us off?
Well, Litecoin is one that, believe it or not, guys, I've been trading a little bit in the last couple hours today. And, I'm always driven by those 3 V's: volume, volatility, or velocity. And Litecoin, which, as the name implies, I guess, is that Mr. Lee that created that one, guys? Yeah. And then he famously sold right at the top and said, yes, this is all for philanthropic reasons that I'm getting out here as that coin made its huge surge. That's one I'm trading right now. I don't know if I'm going to hold it for a long time, but I liked the action back and forth in Litecoin. So I'm trading that one. I'm still holding that Cardano from yesterday. And I don't think I'll sell Cardano till at least passes 250. That's my short-term target.
Good stuff. Yeah, I really like Cardano at the current price point. I think it's looking very strong right now. So like those picks a lot. And I have a couple Dojos of the day today. CJ, you're not the only one that came packing today.
All right.
I've got quite a few here. And, sometimes I'll pick Dojos of the day based on assets that are, oversold relative to the rest of the market. But today I'm picking Dojos of the day based on assets that I think are showing great strength. We're showing great strength previous to the sort of crazy 2 weeks we saw here. And I think have a high likelihood of continuing their trend into all-time highs. So we've talked about a few of these this week, but I just want to reiterate. And let's start with AVAX here, Avalanche. So this thing, clearly, the first thing that should stand out to you here is this volume profile. This is, like I keep talking about, one of the major benefactors of the congestion that the Ethereum network saw following all that NFT mania. This is its own chain. As you can see, it was showing tremendous strength before being hit with that liquidation event and then the risk off market from that Evergrande and Fed announcement. But now, as you can see already, yesterday we got that bullish engulfing candle. Today it's up in new all-time high territory, and the volume profile is continuing to look very strong. So I think that it's already looking like this trend is going to continue right where it left off before all this craziness happened. And for that reason, I really like AVAX, and I think it's worth taking a look at. Another asset that I think I mentioned yesterday that is also showing some really great strength and was showing strength previous to this sort of weird start to this week is Hedera Hashgraph, or HBAR. John, you met with Jordan at SALT and spoke very highly of him. I've been bullish on HBAR for a long time, but here's another one. As you can see, the volume profile was looking very, very strong before we kind of reversed following this risk off market. So now that we're getting back into that risk on attitude, we got this bullish engulfing candle. Volume is ticking back up. I like HBAR's chances of climbing to its previous all-time high that it set just last week and perhaps breaking into new all-time highs and just continuing this momentum that we saw just last week. Next is Atom Cosmos. This is another one. As you can see, volume profile steadily building. Was kind of halted in its tracks at an all-time high to start this week, but yesterday put in a really nice bullish engulfing candle. Today is picking up right where it left off and is headed up to make new all-time highs. So once again, I just love the strength of this trend before this week, and now that I think that we've come back down and got this bullish engulfing candle, I think this trend is likely to continue. And Atom is worth a look. And then here's a one that's sort of different here. This is CeeLo. CJ mentioned CeeLo earlier in the week here, and this is a DeFi play, so a little bit different than AVAX, HBAR, and Atom. But once again, as you can see, volume profile very strong. Once again, this trend is just continuing rallying into its previous all-time high here, and really there is not much resistance between this current level and this wick that we wicked all the way up to here at $11. So given what we're seeing in terms of volume and in terms of technicals, I think that these four assets, AVAX, HBAR, Atom, and CeeLo, are four that are postured very well to capitalize on the strength to close the week in this market. So those are my four Dojos of the day today. I will be watching all of them very closely.
Good ones there. Love the HBAR and CeeLo a lot. I'm not in CeeLo right now, still in HBAR, but I definitely should be checking out that CeeLo a little more closely, I guess.
It's held up nicely, even after that massive wick up. Sometimes those just get really sold into, but this one has managed to hold its ground. So, all right.
What do you got for us, Mr. Reichel?
You covered some of them. There's a lot of overlap.
How does it feel? How does it feel to get your Dojos of the day stolen?
Well, there's plenty of them. So, there's no shortage. I'll start by talking about the assets that I bought recently, like yesterday and the night before, and I'm still holding them. I'm looking for, positive price action going into the end of the week, potentially into next week as well. In terms of volume, I actually haven't bought this one, but I wanted to highlight it first because I believe it's up about 115% in terms of relative trading volume. So, like Monty had mentioned on this one, really nice volume profile. So that would be my one Doge of the day, Atom, if I had to pick one today. In other words, Cosmos. However, the ones that I have been buying quite recently are Serum, DOT, HBAR, and Luna. I really like where all of these assets are. They're, really strong fundamentally, and they're coming down, and I see that people are looking to buy this dip. There's a lot of bullish engulfing candles at the bottom of our recent downtrend in some of these assets, and we still have this cup and handle pattern really intact. Same with DOT, same with HBAR, same with Luna, and then some honorable mentions that I might as well lay out as well is ADA. Great bullish engulfing candle. However, one of the differences is that some of these are still below their 20 smooth moving average. That's really one of the key differentiators between full-on bullish price action and I think a little bit more of like a laggard, so to speak. Algo is looking really strong this morning as well as yesterday. Wish I would have bought some of that and had some exposure to, but we'll get them next time. AVAX, really impressive. Really.
And look at the volume there. Look at the volume on that one. Look at that build just from, August 16th on. Look at it. It's like double or triple the volume. That's why it made that move.
Yeah, you have this period of time where there's the currency is basically unknown, or there's just not really anyone trading it. And then you just have all of this interest come in. And I still think that's going to fuel it higher, potentially to the $100 level. Seems like a realistic target at this point. But those are going to be my Dojos, or the assets that I'm actively trading going into the weekend. But yeah, thank you for that.
Well, there you have it, folks. Plenty of Dojos of the day to take a look at today. We seem to be pretty optimistic on the overall market to close the week, and that's pretty exciting stuff. So we will be in the crypto room as always. We got some big stuff coming to the crypto room just this weekend. Huge overhaul. Crypto 2.0 is going to be launching. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to have tons of improvement coming to you guys. We are so excited about it. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're not yet a member, you can still sign up now and lock in our prices before they go up with this new 2.0. And you can still try the room for just $1 for your first month at markrebellion.com/try crypto. Also, if you head over to investvoyager.com, you can trade 60 plus digital assets commission free and also earn up to 10% or 10% interest on USDC and up to 12% on assets like DOT. And like Doc mentioned earlier, use code Rebel25 when you sign up and you'll get $25 free in Bitcoin. But that's all we got for today. Any parting words for our audience before we sign off, fellas?
I think have targets. Always have targets. We broke above. We held 42 after that break, to 39.8. We came right back up, held 42, have pushed through 44 now. Have a target. If you're trading Bitcoin, have a target. If you're trading Cardano or Litecoin or CeeLo, any of these, have a target and be disciplined about taking profits. As long as you cut losses and take profits, you'll be at this a long time.
Absolutely. Well said, Doc. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.